Oh, welcome to So Rare in the States, and we're back with another 2025 MLS season preview on So Rare. Clearly, that's why we're here. Today, we're going to be looking at Nashville SC. That's right, the big Nashville boys. I've been hyping them up for weeks. Everyone else is starting to catch on. They made some moves. Gaston Brugman in the midfield.
Uh-oh.
Things are starting to shape up for Nashville. We all love a little mustache Willis. So we're going to get into it. Obviously, Alex, the disciple of Dewan. We all know why, but we'll save that for another episode later. We're not going to talk about it today, Alex, but we're going to talk about Nashville. Like I said, we've been keeping these short and sweet. If you want to come talk about your team on one of these, hit me up. We're going to do that. And yeah, dude, let's get right into it. Nashville SC, a nice upcoming team after a terrible year last year. Okay, it was a little rough, but we are back. So we're going to dive in. Alex, help me figure out what moves they made this offseason, who departed the club, and then we'll move on to who is now there.
So starting off with departures, it's nothing too crazy. I think maybe the biggest name on here would be Shaq Moore leaving, U.S. international defender. He's gone. They also got rid of Panico, who's their backup keeper. That was sort of the question was Willis Panico going into last season. Willis won it and kind of didn't give it up at all with new manager BJ Callahan coming in. And so now with Panico definitely gone, Willis should start every game, every cup game. It shouldn't be a problem. The biggest money signing leaving was McNaughton as center back, though they did have a surplus of guys. They had Jake Bauer, Zimmerman, and him, so they could spare one of them. Sent him off to DC, and then a couple starters. Sean Davis is gone. Annabelle Godoy is gone. Drew Yearwood got in, was a starter at points. But yeah, there's no huge names from here leaving. But for arrivals, we have some big names coming in. We got the big one being Tagseth, defender coming in from Rosenberg. If you guys have been paying attention, maybe trying to find the new transfers, he has probably, I think, the highest L15 at anybody coming in. So he's usually top
and
of
has
those
in-season
lists.
cards.
Yeah. Does he?
Thought he did. Maybe
I
not.
don't. I don't know. We did a show on it though for guys who have in-season cards, so go check that out. If you haven't already, we've brought up his name before. If it sounds familiar, yeah, he's a big one. And then MLS Cup MVP Gaston Brugman also coming in to reinforce that midfield. That was with the Sean Davis trade. They got him for that, and so they're looking super strong in the midfield. And that's a lot of what people are talking about when it comes to Nashville. Is that three of Mukhtar, Tagseth, and Brugman, and how good that they can be. Besides that, they brought in a big money signing, also Yazbek. We don't really know much about him. He's young. It's just sort of, they're putting their money out there. They're seeing what they can bring and see if it will work out. But with the other three, it's going to be interesting to see how much he shines. But besides that, those are the three ones to look at. Everybody else sort of came in to fill squad depth. They brought in third string keeper from Houston to be the backup now. And yeah, anything look special out of these guys? I know you're a big Brugman fan.
Yeah, I mean, just you kind of mentioned that the Yazbek, Tagseth, and Brugman. I think we've said it before. Where Nashville, obviously, Hani Mukhtar up top, Sam Surridge about the middle of last season kind of figured it out, so showed up. He was new to the league, and then defense. Nashville has always been known for their defense, and one of the things that they didn't have the transition from defense to offense, like it would just get lost in the midfield. They would lose the midfield battle. I always joke that bringing in Drew Yearwood to be one of your starting midfielders is just not going to cut it in Major League Soccer, especially the way the league is going now. So them bringing in these signings, obviously you have Brugman, who is proven MLS Cup winner now, is going to solidify that defensive midfield. And then, we have Tagseth and Yazbek. So we have two guys coming in. Obviously the hype is around Tagseth, but we'll see one of them have to hit. And if they can get that midfield together, obviously you have Jacob Schaffelberg up there, Tyler Boyd, who is out for injury, but he was okay before he got hurt. So they should be fine in the attack. But now that they have the reinforcements in the midfield, I think that's what's really putting Nashville on the radar for a lot of people right now. It's like, wow, it's actually more of a complete team now. And dude, now they could ball. Let's go.
Oh, yeah, it should be really interesting. And I mean, Zimmerman at the back, like that's one of the best center backs in the league. So they've always had a solid defense. They usually don't concede a bunch of goals in a game. They'll concede, but it won't be like 3 or 4 in a game. So that's where Joe Willis can be a little bit beneficial, although he doesn't get great AA. With this midfield now being in, you'll see a lot less 3 goals conceded in a game. So lineup's getting ruined. Won't happen as much. But yeah, now we can move on to set pieces. I think this is pretty obvious, pretty straightforward. Hani Mukhtar took 114 corners last year. Levitt's only took 20. I assume that's when Mukhtar maybe was out. And same thing with free kicks and crosses. Mukhtar took 9 times as many as
Wow.
Levitt's did. It's very leaning heavily towards Mukhtar, and that's why I think a lot of people have hyped him up and justified, like with how good this team could be, and him being on this many sets and this high percentage of sets for this team. It makes sense. And here's the proof right here. Yeah, it's all him.
No, and I think like not so much last year, right? Because Nashville just last year was a complete just dumpster fire. But when Nashville was firing early days of Sorare, Hani Mukhtar was one of the cars that was up there with Carlos Hill and everybody else. Like Hani was the midfielder, and he does have his games where he just kind of disappears. At A, he's not there; it just doesn't happen for him. But historically, Hani has proven that he can do a lot. And yeah, just having those corners, obviously taking those set pieces, just puts him in better positions to get those decisives on top of the AA, which is huge. But it's kind of a bummer. I kind of mentioned this on the Miami show that when you have a guy like this that is so dominant on these important like metrics for so rare, it's like it makes the stack not as fun because all of those actions are going just to Hani himself, and that's only one of the 5 players that you want to play. So that could be annoying. But Tyler Boyd is in that mix too, and he got injured very, very early last year. So if he can come back into form, come back from injury, and then work his way back into that starting lineup, that'd be something to watch too. But yeah, as far as anybody, I think you are really looking at Hani Mukhtar here as
Yeah.
the guy in Nashville.
And I know in the year that they went to the Leagues Cup final, which was I want to say 2023, him and Levitz were splitting corners. And so that changed last year because this is from last year. It says it there.
Right.
So I don't see things changing. I don't really see anybody else sort of stepping in, and that can be difficult with um with stacks and full team stacks because you're kind of adding all that assist chance into one guy. You don't have it, you can't split it up. And I will say also, Hani is their primary penalty taker too. So that's the big three are all him when it comes to set pieces and dead ball. He's gonna be your guy. He's gonna be your captain if you are running Nashville stack, which you have, right? The Prio Nashville stack. We can look at that now if you want to.
Yeah. So as far as when you're looking at Nashville, if you do decide you want to stack them, obviously you're going with Big Joe Willis in the back. You have Walker Zimmerman, who is easily still one of the best defender cards in Major League Soccer. Obviously, you're going to want to run Hani Mukhtar in the middle. As far as forward, Sam Surridge should be starting when healthy. Like I said, especially towards the end of last year, he really started to figure it out. They got a new coach, and we were actually there. We saw him in Atlanta, saw him kind of come back to life a little bit. And a lot of that had to do with Sam Surridge finally finding the back of the net. And then as far as this extra, right, you get one more player, and this is where Nashville gets a little fun. Because unlike Miami, where you're basically paying the Barca boys, you have options here. We kind of already mentioned Tag Seth, who's coming in, obviously hype, but a young player coming into the league first year. You never know what you're really going to get. Then you have Gaston Brugman. Obviously, he can put up scores, defensive midfielder. You know, I'm a sucker for defensive midfielders, so he should be putting up pretty good, solid floor as far as his points are. And he's known in the MLS. He just won MLS Cup, so that's obviously a safety net there. And then my personal favorite, which Alex does not agree with, is good old Jacob Schaffelberg. He's great now with the team around him. It isn't just him just kind of attacking the defense by himself anymore. He'll have a little bit more players on this team that he can lay the ball off to and then get in positions behind. So Jacob Schaffelberg had a good season last year. We don't know if he's going to repeat it. Last year was probably his best year for the Canadian national team and for Nashville. But I'm pretty high on him. So what do you think about this stack? What are you thinking when we mentioned Nashville stacks?
No, yeah, I really agree with what we're seeing right now. I think personally I would go Brugman as the fifth, just because with Tag Seth, it's a lot of unknown, and with Brugman he has that AA in the midfield. He's done it at LA. He didn't start much. Maybe that's why the L15, L40 aren't too high. But yeah, I wanted to talk about Josh Bauer, which we'll get to in a second. Who I like as if maybe you don't want to go out and spend $25 on a Zimmerman. You can pick up a Bauer for 84 cents rare. Um, And with no McNaughton, these scores for his starts aren't actually too bad.
Yeah, but
46 when starting,
Jack
but
Maher would be the starter, wouldn't he?
is he still there? Is
Yeah,
he? I thought who was gone? Was it McNaughton or Maher?
it's McNaughton that's gone.
Oh, Bauer was a starter for a while. I don't know if it changed then.
Jack Maher's that dog. He's Walker Zimmerman's little brother, as they call him.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
yeah, he had some decent. Yeah, I don't know what happened at the end of last year, but
Yeah,
he's
I
shown
mean,
flashes.
when they keep clean sheets, Nashville, all their center backs eat. Let's go to just a random game. Let's go to this 2-0 Toronto. Like their defense, see, this is what I
Yeah.
was seeing. Was this three back. And
Oh, that's
so
interesting. Yeah.
yeah, so I don't know if that's what they're gonna run for the season, formation wise. We can look at past formations. We'll go through it in a second. But yeah, I think whenever Nashville keep clean sheets, they're really so rare friendly defensive scores. And so pairing up any of these three, preferably Zimmerman, because you'll have the highest peaks. But if you're on a budget, it is good to have it with Willis, because Willis will give you a 70, just above 70 probably,
No,
plus from the defender when they keep clean sheets.
when they keep clean sheets, which does happen often because Nashville's very kind of sit
Yeah.
back and then counter. They will kill you with speed on the counter.
Yeah, they
I
were
do want to.
able they were able to keep 9 clean sheets last year. So it was a 26% clean sheet percentage last season, as you can see right here. Which is solid. 1 in every 4 games, they're keeping a clean sheet. I'm sure if we break that down by home games, I assume it's higher,
Yeah,
which is as it is for every MLS. And if you guys don't, if you're maybe new to MLS, just to know that matchup league is a real thing for MLS and Sorare. Play home matchups. They're going to give you a definite boost, and you can look at it. You can go through last season, sort by home. It is definitely a real thing.
yeah. No, I agree. It does look like Nashville will probably run two in the back with Jack Maher and Walker Zimmerman because they also didn't bring in Andy Nahar, the right back position. We did kind of forget about Andy Nahar. He did come under the radar. He's an MLS darling. We all love a little Andy Nahar. And then, like you were saying on the corners and sets, Daniel Lovitz is on the left too. So it's one of those things where you could take out the wing backs. Obviously, Walker Zimmerman is probably the defender of choice on top. But I guess when you're on your
For
budget,
sure.
like Nashville, again, just being just a defensively sound team since they came into the league, you could kind of get away with playing multiple options there, maybe as a differential for your Nashville stack. And a lot of times, like you said, with that clean sheet on top, you're probably looking at a pretty decent result there. Um, so yeah, and that's the fun thing about this Nashville stack is that there is options. There's multiple ways you could go about it, but obviously the cream of the crop will be Joe Willis, Walker Zimmerman, and Hani Mukhtar. Um,
Yeah, so I'm looking at the preseason game. Yeah, Maher was their starter for
was he
center
starter?
back.
Yeah,
So yeah, Maher, very very similar to Bauer. So
yeah.
yeah,
But either way,
so,
like $1 or two. I've always been a kind of a big fan of him. I owned him way before I had a Walker Zimmerman. So see, I do it too. I do it too. And then yeah, I'm definitely looking at a Walker Zimmerman, even in rare. I think I might scoop one up.
there you go. Yeah, Zimmerman, one of the best MLS defenders in general, and with Kai Wagner gone, there's a big gap for who's going to take that top spot. I think personally, it's going to end up being Alba just because the assists, but I think Gamar will fall right behind that. But I think Zimmerman's in that top 5 for sure.
Mhm.
And having Mukhtar Zimmerman for the budget is not horrible. It's not bad at all.
Yeah, I mean, you look at this right here. So if we go with Gaston Brugman, the safest bet we think right now for that fifth spot, you're looking at $20 for this little Nashville stack. And classic, obviously, in-season prices are going to be whatever they end up being.
Probably 3 times
Um,
that.
yeah, we'll see. We'll see. We don't know. Don't know. Market's going to market, and we're just going to vibe with it. Nothing we can do there, unfortunately. But yeah, about 20
Sadly.
bucks will get you a nice little classic Nashville stack. If it's something you want to do, something to have fun with. Again, a lot of us are starting to turn this tide on Nashville, especially with the way the Eastern Conference is shaping up right now. A lot of departures and a whole lot of not fun arrivals. So the East is starting to. There's the Eastern Conference in Major League Soccer is going to get a nice little shakeup this season.
Yep. All right. So I have some stats that we can look over real quick for Nashville from last season. This is a different team,
Yeah.
obviously, but we'll start at the top with the conference. Last year they finished 13th in their conference, and their top scorer was Sam Surridge. And they did not make the playoffs, obviously, for being in 13th. If we go down to their shooting stats, They scored 37 goals, which is second to last, actually.
Oy.
Although their goals minus expected goals were 7.8, so they technically should have scored more goals than they did. They did not outperform their XG, which hopefully changes this year. If we look at penalties, they had 5 penalty kick attempts. Seven penalty kick attempts with 5 going in. So that's 7 penalties for Mukhtar. That's really good. And so look out for that for Mukhtar. Racking up some penalties. That's one of actually the higher numbers in the league. And then if we could look at progressive passes, which is one of Thomas's favorite stats, actually they fall right towards the bottom. So they're going to need some of these guys, maybe Brugman, Tagseth, to come in and provide more attacking pedigree, just going forward from the midfield. Progressive passes is a really big indicator on Sorare for how attacking a team is and how much AA they're going to get, especially in the midfield. And so hopefully we'll see changes with that. Besides that, I don't think there's really much else. Everything else is pretty simple. If we go over here to these stats, which we brought up last time, they averaged just 1.1 goals per game, which is not many.
Nope.
Yeah, that's not many at all. They had 2.5 big chances per game, which was actually not crazy compared to what Miami's, which was, I believe, was like 3.2, 3.1.
Something like that, yeah.
It's not too far off, but they missed 1.8 big chances per game. So that's pretty big margin for them. Mukhtar was a BCM king last year. If you don't forget, he was definitely top 5 BCMs. And they're throwing 11.5 shots with 3.6 shots on target per game. So 1 in 4 are going in, 1 in 3 are going in if we round up. So 33%. That's fine. That falls about in the middle of the road when it comes to shots on target percentage. Miami was number 1, which we did last time. And then counterattacks, 33. That's not the craziest number. That's actually kind of low. So hopefully things can change.
No transition in the midfield, man. That's what it was. I'm telling you, it just never made it past the midfield. It just always fell short, and they couldn't get it because historically, Nashville loves the transition. When you see Hani Mukhtar running at you, you know you are in trouble.
Oh, yeah.
So hopefully we'll see a lot of that this season.
Yeah,
hopefully.
I think we're going to see a big switch in how they play this year with that midfield, and it's going to be exciting. They're going to be a really fun team to watch, especially at home, because they are historically pretty solid at Geodis.
Mm-hmm. Nice atmosphere over there at Geodis. Definitely high on my list of places I want to play. It's a great crowd for that Nashville team. Yeah, it's kind of upsetting. Nashville's always kind of been one of my like low key kind of favorite teams to watch and fun of. Hani Mukhtar, I'm a big fan of, so it'll be nice to kind of see them come back to life a little bit. Maybe that's why I'm a little bit more excited than most on Nashville. It's just it'd be nice to see them kind of be good again. But we'll end on this. What are your realistic expectations for this Nashville team? Do you think they'll be fighting for playoff spots, home playoff spots? You'll think they'll kind of slide down to the play-in? Kind of how do you see this season going for them?
If I had to put a number on it, for the conference, my guess would probably be 7. Okay. I think they do solid. This isn't the right one. We can go over here to see like a more realistic table with names from last year. Yeah, I think that we're going to see drops from a couple teams that are up here. I think Red Bulls won't be as good. Toronto definitely won't be as good. Philly, wooden spoon contention already. DC shouldn't be great. Atlanta should move up. Montreal should go down. So I think that they can maybe slot up here. Maybe we see some surprises. I think maybe in this range, this 3 bottom playoff spot, I think that they're going to be contending for a playoff. They'll be in the race till probably decision day, trying to figure out what to do.
Mm-hmm. And I'm looking at you, Ohio. You guys are going to be dropping too.
I think their ceiling would be the 4, like barely sneaking into a home playoff. And I think their floor would probably be like around where they were last season. I don't think they can really get worse than they did this season when they bringing in talent and switching things up. But they can stay the same if managerial decisions aren't made. Maybe BJ Callahan just sticks with what he's got and messes things up. But I don't think he will. I think they'll do solid this year.
No, I agree. I definitely see him around that, like maybe like 5-6. I don't necessarily see him like fighting for like a play in, but I do kind of see him maybe flirting with top 4. I don't really see top 4 for him yet. But maybe. I mean, like I said, bringing in those solid pieces really does change the narrative for this team a little bit. But like they don't score a lot of goals anyway. So as long as your defense can shape up and they could just scrap away those 1-0 wins, yeah, I'll definitely think they'll be middle of the pack. I'm excited to see it. I definitely don't see the Red Bulls staying up. NYCFC has question marks. They haven't really done anything. And then the Columbus teams obviously losing Cucho and potentially Lucho, maybe. Little poor little sad, upset Lucho.
Oof.
It's not gonna do them any justice on trying to hang out for a home spot. And like, look, I don't want to say it, but like Orlando City, we be on our shenanigans sometimes. We haven't bought Muriel out yet, so the East is gonna be spicy. There's gonna be a shakeup in the Eastern Conference, and it'll be a fun season. Very high on Nashville. Very much enjoy Nashville. So we'll see how it goes. Hani Mukhtar or bust, really. And if you want to get crazy, get you a Jacob Schaffelberg. Don't listen to Alex. Get you a Jacob Schaffelberg, baby. You have any last words on Nashville before we get out of here, Alex?
No, I'm just along with you. I'm excited. It'll be a fun team to watch.
One of those teams. It'll be fun to watch going from one season to the next. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Catch us on the next preview. There's a whole lot more coming. There's a whole lot of teams. And we're going to keep bringing to you. As always, let us know what you want to see. Let us know what you want to see in these videos. And if you want to come on, come hang out. And I'll catch you on the next one.